Well, I'm here at UCSD hanging out
Nice.
at the Design and Innovation Building, mostly because Greg Horwitz told me to. And he's doing his
That's
every other
awesome.
month Meet the VC event tonight at 4:30. But
Nice.
the whole day, the VC has been hanging out. So Sean Zhu from Lowercase
Wow.
Capital is down. He's a UCSD
Awesome.
alum, graduated in 2012. And it's cool to have him around. He's just taking different meetings throughout the day, different roundtables. He had a lunch and um anyway.
That's
So
cool.
and then so just the fact that I'm here, of course, just run into ecosystem. So Brian Dirkmont walked by. He's hosting
Nice.
startup office hours from 2 to 4. And who was
Nice.
in my office at the time? Two student founders that I have been meeting as I have been one who I presented at Jody Jacobs' class. Pravard just came up and said, "Hey, I want to build the deep tech ecosystem in San Diego." I said, "Come with me," and he helped co-organize TechCon SoCal with me. And every time I'm on
Awesome.
campus, we just hang out together.
That's awesome, man. I love that.
18-year-old wonder kid, like has 6 degrees already. He's 18. He's a junior by credits wise, and
Wow.
joined the Army ROTC, co-founded 2 companies already, and
Wow.
wants to hang out and build a deep tech ecosystem with me. So I'm like, I love it. So
UCSD is on the come up, man. There's some great talent coming out of there. And that's great to hear that there's like a Meet the VC happening. Like there's a center of gravity pool at UCSD. And I think it doesn't get enough credit sometimes, but it's awesome that you're spending more time there. I need to spend more time there, being a UCSD alum too. It's great. I love it. Love that you're spending some time there today.
I
It's
know
cool.
I agree with you. Like it's hard to come on campus, to be honest. Like it's just there's this, natural and physical barrier where you're just like, and I gotta like pay and I can only be there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But when you just decide to just plant yourself for the day, you just figure it out and do it
You
just like
figure it out.
anywhere else. So
Yeah.
shout out to Paul and to Greg Horwitz and to Brevard, who I know will be listening to this later. Because it's fun to be around and see things changing and growing and all that stuff. So and then
Go
tonight
Tritons.
I'm going to the Triton basketball game tonight, which should be fun. You want to
They've been
come? You
they've
want
been
to?
they've been crushing it. Are they? Is it March Madness right now?
They apparently, if they win tonight, I think they pretty much have a chance to be in the bracket, which is huge.
That's huge, man. I went a few weeks ago and I was like really surprised, just like the school spirit. It was a sold out basketball game. I have never felt so much energy in UCSD sports history. And I used to work at the athletic department for a little bit during my time. And there's been something that's changed ever since Division One. I think this year we're starting to see that effect of Division One. And yeah, the UCSD men's basketball, I think the coach has been there for a long time. He's done a phenomenal job of just turning that organization around and putting them on the map. It's awesome to see. So I'm curious to see how your thoughts are attending tonight's event. Hopefully, get the win and they make it March Madness.
I know, hope so too. I have never been to a Triton basketball game. Even when I was an undergrad, I had never gone before. So I'm excited.
Wow,
The JMI sports team, actually, they reached out and invited me to come out. So how did that
that's
happen?
awesome.
Actually, they came out to, well, I know them from the days when they were at the Loyal, Nick Miranda, and then they came to our Fashion File Carlsbad event a few weeks ago and then invited me to this game. So
That's
that's how
awesome.
serendipity happens in San Diego.
Startups get the party, startups get the party started. Startups get the party, startups get the party started. You want tech and tacos, tacos and tech. You know we got tacos and tech is on smash. For the green, guacamole. Keep accountants counting beans. Contador cuentan frijoles. Founders trying to raise some queso. La vida San Diego, school of rappy, rapping fire. Tortillas round jalapenos. In these modern times of craft beer and coffee, my coding yoga posse, fold the body, origami. We be surfing Coronado, eating tacos el gordo. The taco stand in puesto, lucha libre and sombrero. Gotta shout out Tecos Angels by the ocean, watch the sunset. La Jolla Shores, entrepreneurs trying to get funded. When San Diego Startup Week is popping in the summer, Oceanside to Tijuana, SD be full of hustlers. From couch surfing to penthouses right on the beach. Tech leaders who believe stars are within reach. We interviewing founders who be shooting for the moon. Hashtag SD Tecos with your host, Neal Bloom. Come on! Startups get the party, startups get the party started. Startups Startups get the party, startups get the party started. Startups get the party, startups get the party started. You want tech and tacos, tacos and tech, you know we got it, hey! Startups get the party, startups get the party started. Startups get the party, startups get the party started. Startups get the party, startups get the party started. You want tech and tacos, tacos and tech, you know we got it, hey!
Let's dive into some news. You put out a great overview just recently on the business of San Diego Substack. And I've had a rolling list in our joint shared notepad, and most of them are on here too. And I was grateful that you put it out and put it together. We got a bunch of recent rounds raised, and I would say all over the place. Like we got autonomous surface vehicle, battery tech, AI-powered platform for vehicle inspection, and then a bunch of life science. You want to go through some of these together?
Yeah, let's do it. So we won't go through every single one, but I'll call out the ones that I thought were pretty notable. We actually had some news that broke today. Got to mention it. Shield AI just raised some massive funding. I think it was like 200 million additional funding. Just broke news today. So yeah, we can do a deep dive at a later date, but that just happened today. So I think that's pretty big. So Shield AI is kind of a unicorn defense tech company in the region. But the article I put out with Business of San Diego Substack really just pulls out, tech, life science, and also the top headlines that happened in the month of February alone. And I would say, if you looked at January, the funding that we had showed a trajectory of like, hey, this might be the another big year of VC funding for San Diego. I will say, going into February and March, it seems like VC funding has kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit. There was a lot of life science funding that went in January. In February, we're seeing, disbursements between life science and tech. We did see some pretty big funding rounds. We had CSATs, which is autonomous vehicle, surface vehicle, that goes in the water. They raised about 10 million, Series A. We had UCAP Power, which is kind of a clean tech data center, EV. They're in that space. They just raised 4.8 million. I'm actually reaching out to the founder to get an interview to kind of learn kind of what they do, because I believe they're kind of a two-part company. It's like Maxwell and UCAP Power. They both kind of run in conjunction. So yeah, I'm interested to learn more about what they're up to. I'll pause there, Neal. Was there any funding that you kind of stood out to you?
Already, just to talk on these a little bit, I was at a defense tech dinner put on by Ellen Chang Monday night, and CSAT CEO was there, which was cool to meet him and hear kind of, where he's feeling how San Diego can be leading in the autonomous water surface space, which is kind of cool to see in that regard. And there was a lot of enthusiasm at that, like, defense tech hub. Why isn't San Diego on the map? Let's do it. Let's go. I may have already spun up a website, san diego defense day.com, to put on a physical demo day on an aircraft carrier. So that may be happening already. Sneak that out there. But the UCAP team, if I remember right, Maxwell was actually acquired by Tesla and then spun back out. Is this where UCAP came from? This is the spun out team that left the Tesla team, right?
That is correct. Yep.
That's
and
pretty
based in
cool.
Carlsbad, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Battery density in Carlsbad is pretty cool to see. So that's awesome. I put out a LinkedIn post today or yesterday about what are the next $10 billion companies to go public and hit in San Diego. And in fact, Shield AI's seed round lead investor, shout out to Homebrew, commented that it's Shield AI to be next. It's been cool to see the Homebrew team cheer on San Diego Tech, because I think they have one or two investments here, and called it one day early because maybe he knew a little something was coming on this investment here from Shield AI. So 2 defense tech deals coming together at the early stage and late stage, which is awesome. I also want to make sure we talk about your life science conversation you had about performance of the ecosystem life science side versus other cities. You want to take time to talk about that here or later in the fundraises?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk at a high level. I met with a 20 plus year biotech analyst. He works at Cantor. I thought they were a boutique firm. I guess they're pretty large. They have thousands of employees. They're kind of an investment bank firm for late stage companies that help them raise capital, and prepare them for the IPO stage. And he shared a very interesting statistic. He actually sent me some of the research following our conversation. But we met in Del Mar, One Paseo, which is one of the best meeting spots in San Diego, I think. And it seemed like that post really resonated with the community. We'll link it in the show notes. But essentially, he said that, just looking at San Diego life science companies, publicly traded in the last year, if you look at their stock performance, we saw about 80% increase in stock performance in San Diego alone. And compared that to other cities like Boston and San Francisco, other similar life science hubs, they saw about a 10 to 20% increase in stock value. And the quote he provided me was, San Diego's biotech ecosystem is incredibly robust. It's also incredibly investable for both public and institutional investors. And I thought that was super fascinating. Everyone knows San Diego is a top 3 biotech hub behind Boston and San Francisco, but I think what we're seeing from the publicly traded companies is they're outperforming companies in those other cities. So it's really just a cool thing to just share. I think everyone is passionate about San Diego, but it's cool to see the numbers behind it. And we're just getting started.
It is pretty amazing. We used to do a little like San Diego public stock index check-in year to year. Maybe we got to bring that back because we were comparing our public companies to other public companies. Maybe we do a little sub-index on our public life science companies in that regard. Cantor Fitzgerald, by the way, you know who the most recent CEO is or was maybe for the last 40, I think 2 years is now our new Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. So very storied company, and now having a pretty significant role in what's going on in globally, and that's good to hear from the talent at Cantor Fitzgerald. Giving you that kind of data, I think, is great advice, and now we can hopefully help build the way there. Hopefully, we're on the map even more. Something else to talk about, like at the highest level there, in terms of building off of that, is a recent IPO that happened. You want to talk through the most recent IPO from here, biotech in San Diego?
So this is the first IPO in San Diego this year. Aardvark Therapeutics, they netted about 94 million. They focus on obesity. I believe they created a therapeutic that targets people who are looking to lose weight. And I actually met the CEO at Bio 2024. They have this big conference in downtown San Diego where thousands of biotech folks from the top hubs come to San Diego, and they have a bunch of networking opportunities. I remember being at one of just like the offsites. I think it was at someone's car garage somewhere. There was like 100 plus CEOs and investors. And yeah, I remember talking to Aardvark CEO, who's also a UCSD alum, which just talks about the proximity of San Diego. And I think he had just raised Series C funding or Series D funding. It was pretty significant. We did a story for the Business Journal. And then, a few months later, 6 months later, it was in June, in January of this year, went public. They're based in UTC area. I think they have about, 50 employees or so. And it's been pretty positive. I think their stock is went up, and just great win for San Diego. And hopefully we can see more of that.
Totally agree. I think we will, based on one, how many fundings happened last year, how many exits happened, which will recycle. We've already seen the recycles of people exiting and then starting their next biotech company. And there's a bunch more fundings that happened recently as well too. Some names that we have grown used to hearing funding wise, like Carlsmed and Chromacode, and then a bunch of early stage deals that happened as well too, which we'd love to see, especially the Biocanic team, Resolute Science, and Robodin, all early stage biotech or health tech platforms. And on the No, that was all life science in that regard. But on the acquisition side, let's jump to that real quick. We saw usually we're used to seeing our companies get acquired, but one of our unicorns actually made a large acquisition here. You want to share the news of Drata?
Yeah, so Drata is a compliance unicorn in San Diego. They were started, I think, in 2021 by former Portfolium, which is another company in San Diego that I got acquired. I think your former company. And so these guys have spun up a new company called Drata. They've been kind of growing tremendously. I think this might be their second acquisition now. But yeah, they just acquired a company called Safe Base for 250 million. And like as you said, we've seen a trend of startups being acquired, but now we're seeing San Diego-based companies acquire local companies. That could be a cool trend to look at. I think Seismic has made some deals. There's a few other firms have made some acquisitions of smaller firms, and Drata has been continuing to grow. I think they have over nearly 800 employees now, or more than that. So it's great to see them succeeding in the space, and they've almost become a leader in the compliance space. I think SOC compliance and a few other things they do. And yeah, it's a huge news. I thought it was pretty significant.
Yeah, it's great to see for sure. They, I think, have the claim, at least in San Diego, the fastest to unicorn. It was like 0 to 18 months or something. They had 3 funding rounds and pushed them over. I think they jumped right to like 2 billion valuation wise with their third round of funding. I think a Series A or a Series B, all bam, 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 right back to each other. So Markowitz Brothers and Daniel Marashlin continue to grow a good SaaS business here in town. Some other news. I don't think we've actually had a pod to our own to break the news about ecosystem wise, kind of shockwaves, I would say, through it of Connect and Prebys Foundation, kind of linked to each other to a certain regard. So Connect, a 40+ year innovation nonprofit, really kind of the public face of the startup community in San Diego, which had a big merger with San Diego Venture Group about 7 years ago, which brought Mike Kren into the leadership role of Connect when the two organizations joined forces. It was actually Connect with San Diego Venture Group, and they dropped the SDVG at some point. Mike Kren was CEO and just announced that he's stepping down to lead a new $50 million fund with a family office, the Prebys Foundation, which is big news in the ecosystem. Love to see new local money being invested, and I think they have a San Diego only mandate in investing. What do you take of this news here, Fred?
Yeah, this is pretty big news. Mike Cran has spent, I think, 10+ years, really building up the life science and tech startup community via the vehicle of Connect, San Diego Venture Group before that. I think he, used to work at Cooley and doing BD there. He's done a lot for the community, and he's going to continue to do that. And I think now with his next venture, I will just tease that, we're going to have more venture firms in San Diego announcing some large funds. So this $50 million one is pretty significant. I think in the next few weeks, we'll see another VC firm spin up and claim San Diego. And, Mike Crin, he spoke at our panel event in January, which was kind of the VC Outlook event. And he said, hey, we're seeing, more investors, more companies move to San Diego. They haven't been raising their hand because they've been afraid of getting overwhelmed by deal flow. But he said, they're living amongst us, and it's super positive, and it bodes well for San Diego. And I couldn't agree with him more. I think we're going to see more local money being spun up in San Diego, and hopefully it's reinvested here, and we're inspiring the next generation of investors. I think it's going to continue to compound and put us on the map.
I completely agree. Can't wait to see more funds be announced. Remember last we did a kind of end of year biggest funds. There was $2 billion plus funds that spun up last year. A fund of funds, Stepstone, which had an infrastructure related focus, and a clean tech infrastructure fund. I'm excited to see what spins up new here as well too, and more capital locally is great. I think it's interesting they're hiding among us for this fear of deal flow, because to a certain regard, I actually relate to that. Like as soon as people know, oh, you're an investor, like it actually turns very transactional. People are like, oh, let me start pitching you out. Let me turn on now. It's like, that is the exact opposite of what I want, right? I have to find oftentimes where I used to wear my Interlock hat and jacket, I don't now but I'm out there in the public, but I just like need people, because it's more of a human nature thing. People just start, pitching you, and you're like, I want anything but that to be pitched. So I kind of relate and understand that, but at the same time, when you're out every day of the week in your community meeting people, you might as well be meeting great founders. And so, you know, it's on us, the people who are connected in town, to engage and connect the investors or who are here and show them good deal flow and show them like you can come out and there are people worth meeting and you can't hide. So I call on you and me and everyone else to just invite the people who are here every day. Way easier than, hey, you're in town once a year. Let's make sure I got some time there. So it's on us to like make those connections. And it's on us even more now that Mike Krenz kind of moved on. To be honest, like he has the Rolodex of VCs to San Diego. And so I know he's not going far, but still, it's a little bit different. It's now on all of us to do that work as a community to make sure that our local companies are seeing the VCs and vice versa. The VCs are seeing our companies. So it's kind of a call to arms to everyone in that regard. Let's round out with just a few kind of general, like not as much startup news. You had some news here. I hadn't seen this, that Warner Brothers is shutting down their San Diego gaming office, which is a bummer. I think they opened like during COVID, so it's been a tough time, I think, to get people in a brand new office in Carlsbad. It's a beautiful office, by the way. It's up behind the Lofty Coffee, if you know, in the Carlsbad Village there. It used to be part of the Carlsbad Antique Shop, and they turned it in this beautiful space. So, bummer to see that, and funny timing when we are doing our second gaming tech gathering with Carlsbad Life in Action on this coming Monday, which we have some awesome gaming companies coming out for that. We keep continuing to do the monthly Carlsbad Life in Action gatherings. And then the Waymo self-driving car company, it has been seen in San Diego, which is awesome. I cannot wait to jump into one of those. You gonna do it? You gonna jump right into a Waymo?
I'm excited for the Waymo. I think that's going to be cool, especially for San Diego. There's certain neighborhoods that are, are kind of hard to park at. North Park comes to mind, and downtown. It'd be cool to just take a Waymo to Petco Park and see the Padres play, and get picked up and dropped off at your house and not have to worry about parking. I think San Diego is one of the great test centers to test that out. It's cool to see tech spending more time in San Diego. It's going to definitely be a net positive for our city.
For sure. I'm already going to download the Waymo app to see when I can get in one because, yeah, I'm so excited. I only very recently, got the experience of full self-driving from a Tesla. And honestly, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. Is life-changing. Like, as much as Tesla has ridden the EV wave, I think the self-driving is a whole nother level. That is what makes everything appealing about transportation. So to see those two coming together, maybe, at least in San Diego, I'm all for it. So you got any other events or anything on your list here to shout out?
There's always something going on. I would just plug Social Coyote. Jonah Peak does a great job of curating kind of the community public events happening across San Diego from downtown and North County. And when there is different VC events or CEO events, I try to share them on Twitter and LinkedIn when possible. What's on your radar, Neal?
Well, depending on when this goes out, it may have already been gone, but the San Diego Founders Hike is upon us. First Friday of every month, 6:30 in the morning. Gliderport, I think it's supposed to rain. We're still doing it anyway, rain or shine. We will have a good chunk of people out there. We've got, like I mentioned, the Carlsbad events coming up. In 2 weeks, I'm starting a very regular founder build day in multiple parts of the community now. So now we're on month 2 in North County. We're doing month 1 at Answer in the Convoy area, and those will start happening on third Thursday. We're going to start founder build day on third Thursday, happening multiple locations throughout the county. So we're looking for the downtown hub to get that going as well too. And man, if you think I do a lot of events now and you think, how does he do it? Don't even count on it, because I got so much coming right now. There's just such a hunger and appetite for curated gatherings, specific education. I think the ecosystem honestly is just starting to like re-wake up right now, and I'm excited. So we will see you all out there. Fred, it is a pleasure to be on the mic with you. And thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribing to all of our Substacks and our newsletters and sharing, so that the job of amplifying and educating is on all of us. So, Fred, thanks for joining.
Always a pleasure, Neal.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks.
Startups get the party Startups get the party started. Startups get the party. Startups get the party started. You want tech and tacos, tacos and tech. You know we got tacos and tech is on smash. For the green guacamole. Keep accountants counting beans. Contador cuentan frijoles. Founders trying to raise some queso. La vida San Diego. School of rappy, rapping fire. Tortillas round jalapenos. In these modern times of craft beer and coffee, my coding yoga posse fold the body origami. We be surfing Coronado, eating tacos el gordo. The taco stand in puesto, lucha libre and sombrero. Gotta shout out Tech Coast Angels by the ocean, watch the sunset. La Jolla Shores, entrepreneurs trying to get funded. When San Diego Startup Week is popping in the summer, Oceanside to Tijuana, SD be full of hustlers. From couch surfing to penthouses right on the beach. Tech leaders who believe stars are within reach. We interviewing founders who be shooting for the moon. Hashtag SD Techos with your host, Neal Bloom. Come on! Startups get the party. Startups get the party started. Startups get the party. Startups get the party started. Startups get the party. Startups get the party started. You want tech and tacos, tacos and tech. You know we got it, eh? Startups get the party. Startups get the party started. Startups get the